Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. Jeb is in here for Carlene. It is 2 days before Christmas. Don't panic if you haven't gotten your Christmas gifts yet. If some of your stuff has not gotten there yet, you still got a little bit of time.
You should definitely be panicking. It's the 23rd. You have 2 days. All your stuff should be here by now.
I'm trying to get people to calm down because not all of my stuff has come. So
that's a you problem, sir. You should have planned. You had all year to think about this.
Oh man, my family still loves me. Yeah. So okay, 2 days before Christmas, a lot to get to. One of the things we want to get to this morning, Sheriff Gary McFadden. He is here live. Virtually. Sheriff McFadden, thank you. I guess I got to start with this. I started with Christmas gifts. Did you get everything yet, Sheriff McFadden?
I'm hoping I do. I'm looking for some ostrich cowboy boots. That's what I'm looking for.
Ostrich cowboy. Where do you get those?
Yeah, it's Tracovas. If anybody wants to go on South Boulevard and buy me a pair, I will gladly accept them. That would probably be my fourth pair, but I need some ostrich.
Okay.
Ostrich.
All right, we're making note. We're going to do some Googles. We'll hook you up.
Please do.
Last time you were here, and it's made headlines since you left, you talked about the likely return of Border Patrol. And that has spawned off, again, headlines. Some people are concerned. A lot of people have questions. I'm sure you have questions as well about that return. What can you tell us? What are you hearing from community members, and do you have any updates?
Well, community members are very upset. They are still reeling from the last time that they were here. And we have no more answers from Border Patrol than we had last time. So what we're asking for is communication, collaboration, and cooperation. I'm going to always say those three things. But if you follow this as closely as I have been following it for the last 7 years, DHS always have an operation during the month of January. And we don't know why, but most of the time, most of the sheriffs nationally will be in Washington, D.C. for their annual conventions. So when we are away from our cities and counties, this is when Border Patrol, DHS actually has a campaign or initiative in our cities. So this is why I expected it. They have just landed in Chicago a couple of days ago. So this could be a round robin effect.
I do want to ask about crime. We talked to Charlotte City Council member Dante Anderson. She's on a committee. That's been a conversation here in Charlotte. There are people that are concerned, and there have been conservatives, Republicans that have come out and spoken out about policies. Charlotte not doing enough when it comes to crime. From your vantage point, and also we have. I do want to point out we have another homicide this morning in Charlotte. From your vantage point, how do you perceive what's happening in not only Charlotte and Mecklenburg County when it comes to crime?
Well, we are a growing city, and when you grow as fast as we grow, you're going to have a uptick in crime. I can tell you law enforcement is concerned about crime. We are concerned. CMPD concerned. All the townships are concerned about crime. But we don't see it as some people make it to be. Yes, there is homicide. Yes, there is crime. But what you have to also understand is we are changing our neighborhoods. People are moving in different neighborhoods that are now experiencing the same crime that some of our neighbors have experienced all along. If you think about Biddleville, historically, Biddleville has been an African American neighborhood, black neighborhood around Johnson C. Smith, where I went and loved my institution. But when I was at school there, the neighborhood was 99% African American. That neighborhood has now changed, and so now these residents are experiencing things that they were not accustomed to by moving in these neighborhoods, which are the same neighborhoods that had these already problems. And so, yes, we're going to have crime. It's always going to be crime. It's always going to be a topic. But now it is affecting people who are moving into these neighborhoods that are not accustomed to these crimes, and surely they are blowing the whistle.
What do you do? What does 2026 look like? Is that top priority on your agenda?
It is top priority, but what the community always like to understand, it also takes them. It also takes them to work with law enforcement, not just coming to an annual meeting or Q&A where the officer standing in front of, homeowner association and get this barrage with questions. Why? We need to come together to work together for you to be our eyes and ears and let's effectively combat crime. Law enforcement cannot do it alone. And we're going to continue to say that because we do need the help. Most of the time things go unreported because they don't want to get involved, or I don't want to snitch, or I don't want anybody to come at me if I say anything. Well, if you still allow that, the crime will go up in your neighborhood.
And CMPD also is in on that, reducing crime, working with Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. Can you talk about the working relationship? CMPD, obviously, new police chief, Estella Patterson. What is that working relationship with CMPD, and what is your relationship with Chief Patterson?
Well, my relationship with CMPD, if you don't know it, that's where I birthed my law enforcement career. Since I became sheriff, we have had a great relationship. Chief Jennings left the business, as we say, in great standing. We had multiple phone calls, worked together tremendously well. We were partners in homicide together many years ago. So we had that great relationship. I'm going to try to make sure I say this correct. Chief Patterson, because I may call her by her first name, because we have a great relationship also. Before she went to Raleigh and she worked with CMPD, great relationship. When she went to Raleigh, we still kept in touch. Innovative. We talked about things she's done in Raleigh. And here's what I can tell you. Her very first day on the job, she called me, not to say, hey, Sheriff, how you doing, anything. She gave me a challenge with her that we did an initiative together without me even knowing. And she said, I need your people to help me with this crime downtown in Center City. And we worked together from day one. Her first day on the job, we welcome her back. And I actually said, welcome home. And so our relationship is going to be tremendous. It's going to be great. This is where she began her law enforcement career. She's going to do an outstanding job. But we have to understand, again, when you are the first African-American female, the first female chief, it comes with challenges because the community placed expectations on us without even telling us what those expectations are. And most people say, well, you should know. Well, we don't know. Have that conversation, give us time, work together. But our relationship with CMPD was just a hand toss away. Jennings gave it to her, she gave it to me, and we're going to work tremendously together again.
Before I let you go, Chief, I do want to ask, speaking, we talked about holidays as we were getting into this interview. There are a lot of people that are going to be traveling. There are a lot of people that are either going to be at home for the holidays, going to have a lot of folks over. What should folks, or even shopping, going out and about throughout the area? So many ways people celebrate the holidays, bring in the holidays. What should people keep in mind?
Be mindful. Check your surroundings. Make sure. Now, I know this sounds crazy. If you have weapons in your home, make sure that they are secured inside your home. Be careful of what you are drinking or intaking. That means, alcohol consumption. Be careful about driving while impaired. But most of all, just be safe around your home, around where you shop. We're going to be walking out of the store with packages and put them in the car and leave the car. And just be mindful of that. Be mindful of when you're reaching in the car and who's standing behind you. And just don't be in the middle of your trunk looking for something and not aware around you. And be careful who's in your home. Those are the things that we can ask you to do. But you have to just be mindful of your surroundings. Be careful of what you say. Be careful of how you purchase things, pulling out your wallet, showing your money. And just be careful. And so we want you to have a safe and happy holiday, but make sure that you understand your surroundings. And criminals look for these times to take advantage of you.
Well, Sheriff, I hope you have a safe and a happy holidays as well. And you said ostrich cowboy boots. Okay.
Ostrich cowboy boots. We can go with caiman, lizard, anything exotic. We'll take them. Cowboy boots.
I got it noted. Sheriff, thank you for your time. Have happy holidays and have a safe holidays.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Sheriff Gary McFadden, Mecklenburg County. Their wide-ranging interview. And look, if you just are tuning in, you missed this interview, it'll be up on our digital platforms, WCNC Plus, WCNC.com, also our mobile app. Let's take a quick break. We got a bit of breaking news, but let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. We're going to get now to some breaking news. Homicide investigation in the University City area. So we do have a live picture up. We'll get that to you shortly. But here's what we got from CMPD. And here's a live picture here on your screen. You're looking at it right now. You see officers there at that scene. So detectives with, this is from Charlotte, from CMPD. So detectives with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department's homicide unit are conducting a homicide investigation in the 1500 block of Kirk Farm Lane in the University City Division. As additional information develops, it will be released by CMPD Public Affairs Division. I just want to read that press release, that snippet of that press release that CMPD just released. But again, this is a look at the scene. This looks like this is in some sort of complex, housing complex, maybe possibly an apartment complex from this view here. Again, this is on 1510 Kirk Farm Lane in Charlotte. You see officers there. We have a crew that got there just moments ago. Now, according to medic, and I can we could take this right for medic, Jeb.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. Okay. One person, according to medic, pronounced dead. No indication of any foul play, and CMPD. Okay, again, I'm reading this in real time, but it looks like one person has died, but again, no indication of any foul play. So again, this is a homicide investigation. Limited details. We do have a map just to kind of give you an area. I know I threw out Kirk Farm Lane. 1500 block. This is the idea of the area off of W.T. Harris Boulevard. So this is in the North Charlotte area, University City. You can see, and again, it looks like a housing complex, apartment complex. W.T. Harris Boulevard, very busy area. I see a lot of green there. I'm assuming because a lot of people are off work, so not a lot of traffic there. But again, this is in the University City. This is a map of that area. And then below on that small box is a look in real time at that scene. Our crews are there. And it looks like, again, as I mentioned, an apartment complex where CMPD is investigating.
So, Nick, and I want to add to this right here. Obviously, the medic statement that we received said that in their reports, this being medics reports, they're not seeing any indication of foul play. That doesn't necessarily, when I hear that and when I read it, I assume, well, how can it be a homicide? Our desk recently updating us in just the last 15 seconds that may mean it was a possible welfare call.
Okay.
Obviously, this is all conjecture right now. We do not know. But just because the medic statement says no indication of foul play doesn't necessarily mean that no foul play was involved.
Yeah.
It just means when they got there, they saw a certain scene. We are going to stick with, CMPD investigating this as a homicide. Obviously, our crew is on the scene now. We are awaiting to hear from CMPD officials. I will tell you that in instances of homicide like this, there is usually at least a preliminary press briefing. Well, we have not heard any indication that there will be a press briefing yet. Circumstance and whatnot, like we're used to this being an opportunity with which we'll usually hear something from police, hopefully soon. Obviously, our Richard Devane and photojournalist Phil are there right now.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Jeff. Thank you for that clarification. Again, we're a lot of stuff when it comes to Live Impact News. I know we said it over and over, but when it comes to breaking news, we're getting stuff in real time, so we're processing it with you. Again, great point there by Jeff. As we sort out what's happening here, again, what we know so far from CMPD, homicide investigation. Medic says one person has passed away. This is in Northeast Charlotte in the University City area. Okay. Should we take a break? Let's take a quick break. Again, we will update you on this breaking news as soon as we learn more information. We'll take you back out to the scene, but let's take a break. We'll be back here in 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Time now to check on the weather because it was chilly yesterday, but it's warming up. Mm-hmm. It's warming up. We're going on a warm streak, a hot streak, kind of like the New England Patriots.
Oh, wait, say what?
Kind of like the New England Patriots.
I did this on purpose.
Just because. Is that a New England Patriots hoodie that you're wearing?
I had no idea. Yeah, no, that's so weird.
You would have thought I had that
Hey,
planned.
I'm just letting you know, like, us here in Charlotte, we are a melting pot of probably all 32 NFL teams, the amount of people that are here. So I'm going to root Panthers if they're playing any team except for mine. So I just want everyone to know that.
Patriots, Panthers, Jeb is a 49ers
49ers fan, and 49ers smoke the Colts.
Old man Rivers.
Going to the Super Bowl.
No, see, the thing is, Rivers looked good for the first half.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, all we have to do is get to the old man.
I think first 2 drives he looked good.
Okay, let's be honest. Yeah, first 2 drives.
It's hard for me to watch that game because it was he's so old and fragile, and he just looks like he's just gonna pop a calf.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look great, and I commend his talent back then and his effort now, but
one stat I saw in the game, which is crazy, so we literally saw a sliver of prime Rivers, is that the last time he went the first 2 drives with 2 straight touchdowns was 2012.
Wow.
So, like, the fact to come back that he actually did that, and I was like, wow, this is a hope. Well, the problem is the Colts defense was Swiss cheese. 49ers have a hot offense and that. But did they stop them once?
No, I mean 48 to 27.
Yeah, I don't think there was one stop.
Yeah.
No, there was one interception, and then they threw an interception, so it was a little rough.
Well, I just want to say this, like, let's not act like Philip Rivers is great. Like, he went 277, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 23 to 35. Like, I mean, put up 27 points. They did not lose that game because of Philip Rivers.
No,
they did not.
Like, that is, you put up 27 points, there's a reasonable expectation that you should at least be a little close, but not get blown out.
But when he would move in the pocket, it looked painful.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely skipping some cardio, which is okay. I do the same thing. I mean, it probably hurts.
I think they're going to miss the playoffs.
I think so.
You can't go. Yeah, I think they're 8-7 now.
Yeah, well, and see, Jeb and I know this pain, and maybe some people out there do as well. This is the time that all of a sudden all of our wasted time rooting on fantasy sports comes to an end, or rejoice. I have one more league left, but I stayed up way too late hoping that Jonathan Taylor would score more, and I regret it now. But you know what? Hey, it's okay, because the Panthers can make the playoffs. My team's in the playoffs. Jeb's team is. Did you clinch yet? I think so. About to.
Let's put a pin in that real quick. We do want to shift. I know this is a hard turn for us, but we want to go back to that homicide investigation. We on Kirk Farm Lane. We're hearing from CMPD. Let's take a listen in.
RyanKendall.
Okay. And so tell us about what happened here today.
So this morning, officers responded to a 911 call for service for a medic here at the 1500 block of Kirk Farm Lane. Apparently a passerby located an unresponsive male just off the parking lot here. Fire and medic along with officers responded, and unfortunately that male was pronounced deceased on scene. Officers are currently conducting a canvass of the neighborhood. Homicide investigators are on scene along with our crime scene personnel. As always, we ask anybody that has any information about this case to please call Crime Stoppers and pass that information on to us.
And I see you're looking, is it in the woods? Did it happen in an apartment building, or is it somewhere outside?
So that's part of the ongoing investigation as to where the incident actually happened. The male was located just off the parking lot over in the edge of the wood line there.
Okay.
Does the male live here, do you know, or is that still under?
All that's still under investigation. We have not identified the subject yet, or any information about the actual cause of death. But we're treating this as a homicide investigation, and that investigation is ongoing.
I was just talking to a neighbor. Should they be alarmed? Should they be inside their houses? Is there something where people should think twice about just roaming around here?
You know, we talk all the time of these unfortunate situations. This is concerning for any neighborhood, anytime this happens anywhere in town. And you should always be aware of your surroundings, no matter where you are. when you're out and about, just checking, being aware of the things going on around you, and if things don't make sense, call 911 and let us come check that out and make sure things are okay.
But not an active threat is what you're saying.
Right now, there's no indication that there's any ongoing active threat to the community, but like I said, it's always wise to pay attention to your surroundings no matter where you are.
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we just got an update from CMPD on that investigation on Kirk Farm Lane in Northeast Charlotte. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. That's Chris Mulcahy.
That's
Chris Mulcahy.
What?
Yeah,
okay,
hello.
hello.
The right direction. All right, so we were talking NFL talk. So it's going to be a big weekend for the NFL, or big week for the NFL. We got some big games. Your Patriots already clinched a playoff spot, so no more big games as the playoffs start.
So I actually wrote something on my 7-day forecast, which I realized was not the most accurate thing because, I tried to forecast. I wrote under the Panthers logo last home game.
Yeah.
But I should have said last regular season home game because technically if the Panthers win, they're divisional favorite and they would be hosting a playoff.
At the bank.
So this could be the last regular season coming up on Sunday, but I'm letting you know Sunday is the transition day before we start to get really cold again.
And this can be a transition to losing seasons to back in the playoffs like we are used to.
I like what you're doing here. Yeah, no, exactly.
I'm
so
good at this segue,
it is a day for multiple transitions, maybe NFL or maybe weather. All right, let's go bring up weather graphics because do not let us go down the NFL channel because this is supposed to be everything, and I'm here to do weather first. And I brought them upon myself for wearing a Patriots jacket. All right, so Beach Mountain, can't really see too much. What the heck is going on? Well, you have winds that have picked up now, and that's going to be the case in scenario. Today is going to be a windy day. Winds out of the southwest mainly are going to allow us to warm up substantially more than yesterday. Nick had said it was a chilly day. However, he doesn't have the northern blood that I have. I thought it was great. But today, you're going to have a reverse because yesterday started off sunny and got cloudier. And then today is cloudy, so it doesn't look great. It will turn sunny a little bit later on. But it's going to take a lot of patience getting there and expect a much windier environment. So already right now, you can see that some of that blue sky. See, I told you so. It's coming. A lot more sunshine developing here. Now, Up in the mountains, you are dealing with an overall cloudy, mostly cloudy day comparatively. But those afternoon winds are going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 miles per hour on and off throughout the evening. And they'll start to simmer down a little bit, but luckily, we're going to be so warm. So current temperatures right now, we're up to 50 degrees. How great is this? Well, yesterday had a high of 54. We're already 4 degrees away from the high yesterday. So that shows that we're heading in the right direction. One of my favorite scenarios is if you have a cloudy night and it clears for the afternoon. That's what we have today. Because a cloudy night will insulate our temperatures. It's called an atmospheric blanket, which I think is a great band name. And then eventually you're going to see lots of sunshine, blue sky, maximizing our warm-up. So it's a really nice situation that even 46 degrees is a really warm start for the mountains. 65 for a high right around the Charlotte area. It's really going to be anywhere, I think, from about 65 to 67, depending where you are. Even the mid-50s looking dandy up around the Boone area. Still mostly cloudy skies right now, but again, it will get brighter and brighter, especially by the late morning heading into the afternoon. Last minute shopping. Does everyone have everything done that they need to do if they're doing anything like that?
Everyone but Nick Sturdivant.
So here's the thing. Okay.
Okay.
No, okay.
Well, I just want to say, every time you say, here's the thing, I'm always suspect where you're going to go.
Okay,
So
I'm
go
giving you
ahead.
the short. No, I don't. I've tried. I don't. All right. Well, we can get back to the forecast. I'm not going to go off on the
No,
tangent.
go on a tangent. No, I got time, man.
Okay. Oh, so I placed my gift orders a couple of weeks ago, and a majority of them have come. One of them I knew wouldn't come on time, so that's fine. I'm just going to do a gift card. It's a gift for my niece. I'm going to get her a gift card, and then when her gift comes, I'm going to mail it to her. There's another gift that said it was delivered on Friday and is nowhere to be found. And so I had to kind of put in a refund request because...
Did you get porch pirated?
I think I got mailroom pirated.
Ooh, yeah, that happens.
So
Yeah.
I think they shook the box and said, all right,
Okay.
time to head out.
That's it. We're done here. No worries.
I got a couple of more things, but they're gift cards, so that's easy.
I thought I was done, but every year I buy my wife just the typical calendar, the paper calendar that we put our stuff on, and I forgot to do it this year, so I have to go get it. And I always get the most random one. Last year was goats and trees.
Ooh, goats and trees.
Mm-hmm. And the year before that was, those dog shaming things,
Yeah.
like I like to eat remotes, or I like to wake up my parents 10 times a night, yada, yada, yada. But the goats and trees was by far the best, so I'm going to go see out a calendar today.
Goats and trees.
Goats and trees. You don't realize goats love to jump in trees. All right, I'm not. Back to the forecast, right? Okay. Well, I'm almost done with my shopping, so maybe picking up a goats and trees calendar or whatever you need. Yeah, not to be too specific, but highs in the mid-60s is amazing. It's about 10 degrees above the average, so a great December 23rd. Not record-breaking, though. McAdenville lights tonight. This will be a much warmer one than what we've had over the last several nights, so that's great. The consideration that we have the upper 50s, and it's mostly clear skies around 9 p.m. with a breeze that is going to make you feel chilly from time to time is still fantastic. So if you have any sort of activities you're doing, or maybe you don't celebrate Christmas and you're just going grocery shopping, it's still going to be a wonderful evening to do whatever you want to do. Now, for your Christmas Eve, tomorrow's forecast will be in the lower to the mid 70s. We're looking at lots of sunshine mixing in with some clouds. I don't think it's a perfect sunny day, but at times you will have some chunks of clouds all in all. Also note, I was just picking up this in the back end of the forecast, I'm anticipating morning fog. So I think we could have some patchy dense fog to kick off the day. That's ideal, especially for the mountains and some of the valley areas. And then after that should be a sunny afternoon, but we are calling for a potentially record, at least tying day, because the record for this day, climatology, is 73. So if you don't break the record or tie the record, it will be one of the warmest Christmas Eves on record. All right, so I did something special here. I wanted to show you what Santa's going to do. So check this out. So when Santa's coming to town for Santa's flight, of course, it's not just about what's at the surface. So the rooftops of Charlotte, the Charlotte area, are going to be right around 55 degrees to literally light wind, about a mile up. So when Santa's making his descent on to the Charlotte area, say around the 485 loop. A mile up is going to be about 48 degrees. 3 miles up in the atmosphere, where he's really trying to catch some of that wind, winds are about 60 miles per hour, so that is catching a wind chill. But what's interesting is it's still above freezing 3 miles up into the atmosphere. That is substantial. So that shows how warm we are. Whenever you have temperatures that are above freezing, about 3 miles up, that's more of a spring and fall-like pattern compared to what we have during winter. So that puts in perspective about truly how warm it is. So for warmest Christmases of all time, 77 will not be beat. 1955's holding that one mighty. But we, as of right now, are calling for a high of 74. That would tie 2015 most recently for the second warmest. I think we're at least going to be in the top 3. So one of the warmest still sticks, and only the 7th time in Charlotte history that we've had 70 plus. So check this out. As it has been announced, it is also my birthday on Christmas. I forget oftentimes, so I decided I'm gonna do a cookout. I'm gonna grill out, man.
Merry birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I appreciate it. But like, what better than me grilling out some cheeseburgers, smoking some meats? I'm gonna be wearing shorts
On a nice spring day.
on a nice spring day. Do you know what? Some people are like, "Oh man, it doesn't feel like Christmas." I don't care. I'm really happy about this. Like, if you want a white Christmas, go to Jackson Hole or go to Bangor, Maine. I think Montpelier is going to be okay. But for here locally, take this as a gift. Other end says, "Hey, it was a cold December." I think it's even a song by Kanye about that. No, Cold Winter. Winters. It was off of 808 Heartbreak.
Yeah, I know you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that was a random thought. I listened to 808 Heartbreak last week, and I was like, "Oh, Kanye, what happened to you?" Anyways, we have the lower to the mid 70s for your Christmas day. Take advantage of it. It's a good one. The last 5 years, what's interesting, hopefully we don't repeat this in 2026. In 2021, we had the 4th warmest of 71. The following year, we had the 2nd coldest start to the Christmas holiday in Charlotte history. And I believe it was the coldest Christmas Eve as well. So hopefully next year is not going to be flip-flopping to the other side. So as far as the records go, Christmas, first day of Kwanzaa, we're not doing it. Saturday, I think, is the best chance. And then Wednesday, pretty solid chance to at least tie or at least close enough. Our rainfall chances, barely anything overnight. That's really picking up, I think, on some fog. And then it's Sunday. That's that transition day for multiple reasons that I'm going to fast forward to. We have constant systems. That's why it's going to be on and off clouds, not perfect sunshine. But we pick up the winds, and then eventually I think we drag in some of the cooler air. So a cold rain possible to end your Sunday, even a changeover of snow briefly for the mountains. And then after that, here's what happens. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast says goodbye 70s for the foreseeable future on Saturday. Transitioning down through the 60s to the 50s on Sunday. Highs at 45 on Monday and 40 on Tuesday. And then for the first of the year, 50 degrees. And that brings our lows down into the 20s. This is not unusual for this time of year. But do you know how twisted and mean it is to crank it up into the 70s with lows in the 50s, and then all of a sudden, days later, you're back to the 20s and the 50s and the 40s? I'm just letting you know that human psychology here, it's going to be kind of a twisted thing that you're now desensitized. You're like, okay, no, I'm ready for the warm again. It's going to hurt at first, but then we'll get used to it being winter again.
When Jeb does his early morning runs, that's gonna be brutal. He likes to get up at 4:45 in the morning.
Bro, that's you. You're crazy. Nick Sturtevant's crazy with it.
No. Jeb one time was like, "Hey, I want to run before college football." And
this is true.
Then meanwhile, I'm just planning my morning Reese's. Like, you guys planning out your runs.
I like running in the sweats. That's what I've learned this year. I've been doing good.
Yeah, man.
I told you my story. I ran cross country. I could run. Average pace is like 6 minutes. That was good. Like an 18
That's great.
Minute 5K.
Jeb is a
cool
cross country guy too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's at that pace now. But then all of a sudden, I was 18. I was running, and I was like, I don't like this. And that was the end of my running career. My knees hate it ever since.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm gonna live vicariously through you guys. But great running weather in the mornings. I'm happy for you guys.
I do want to say this. That Kanye song, Coldest Winter.
Coldest Winter. That was it.
And I want to say.
Coldest Winter.
I want to say Merry Christmas. I want to say Happy Birthday.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Thank you for all you do here at the station, man. You are a great guy, great meteorologist, And love having you in the morning.
Oh, thanks, man.
So
I
I'm just
appreciate it.
stressing-
I'll go cry during the commercial break. That was
St.
really
Nick's
sweet of you.
for some
I appreciate
holiday
it.
cheer. So, Chris Mulcahy.
And to all, a good day.
Chris Mulcahy, thank you for your time, man. As always, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We want to continue now on coverage of some breaking news there in the University City area. CMPD investigating a homicide. Richard Devane is live there on scene. Richard, what can you tell us this morning?
Yeah, we're right here and off of W.T. Harris. This is basically off of Kirk Farm Lane. I'll let you look up. Still an active scene right here. Some police cars have left, but the mobile crime unit here, the city investigating its latest homicide. CMPD says that about 7 o'clock this morning, a passerby noticed a body, and police were called. When they got here, they found someone who had been killed. Right now, they are saying it is a homicide. They're not giving the identity. They have not released the identity yet, or if there is a possible suspect or anything like that they're looking for. They do say that as far as the people in this community, they don't say that anyone should be overly concerned, of course, but this is a homicide. As far as was this a random act of violence or anything like that, they're not giving us that information. This is the Chancellor Park Apartments. Spoke to a couple of residents who tell me that it's normally quiet. One person told me they heard police early this morning in this area. Another person said that officers actually came by and looked at his surveillance video, trying to determine exactly what led up to this homicide. Of course, this is still very active investigation in the beginning stages of it. And Nick, as we get more information, we'll give it to you. But that's the situation right here. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard, thank you for that update there. Again, we are continuing to follow that homicide in Northeast Charlotte. Again, Richard, thank you. All right, so we want to get now to speaking of safety. That's been a big topic here in the Charlotte area, crime, safety. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay spoke with Charlotte City Council member Dante Anderson to discuss the newly formed. I know we got something live, and I hate to pivot on the dime. We'll get to that in just a moment, but we have something happening live right now. And this is what happens here on Live Impact News. I get in the middle of a thought, something comes up, and then we pivot. So we want to go now to Wisconsin, where hearing is underway. And give me a second, guys, as pivot. So slender man stabbing, that's the headline. Morgan Geyser in Wisconsin. He is in court today. He is in the courtroom. This comes after it was revealed that Geyser would not contest the state's effort to revoke his release privileges. He is one of 2 people convicted in the 2014 Slender Man stabbing, and he's back in court this morning. Let's take a listen in.
971.173E, and the state contends that both the conditions of Ms. Geyser's conditional release were violated, and the remaining on conditional release would pose a risk both to her own safety as well as the safety of the community. The allegations include, and I won't go through them all, that Ms. Geyser fled placement, cut off her GPS monitor, and committed other violations of the conditional release order. In support of their petition, the state has alleged, the DHS has alleged, that Ms. Geyser violated the rules for conditional release, and under the circumstances, her release would involve a continued heightened level of dangerousness if she remained on conditional release, both to herself and for others. In my understanding now, based on Attorney Cotton's earlier correspondence, is that Ms. Geyser intends to waive any objection and will not be contesting the petition for conditional release. Is that right, Mr. Cotton?
Intend to challenge the revocation.
Okay, thank you. I just have a few questions for Ms. Geyser just to make sure she's making this decision freely, intelligently, and voluntarily. And Ms. Geyser, you've had a chance to review the DHS position for revocation of conditional release?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you've been able to review it with your counsel, and he's answered any questions you may have had about it?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Geyser, you understand you're entitled to have an evidentiary hearing on the DHS position to revoke your conditional release?
Yes, sir.
And you understand if we had that hearing, it would be the state's burden of proof to show that the revocation of conditional release is appropriate. You understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And you further understand that the burden of proof the state would have to face is to prove that by clear and convincing evidence.
Yes, sir.
And your counsel, for you, waived the 30-day time limit for having that hearing on your behalf. But we currently have a hearing set for February 16th, 2026. You understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And if we had that revocation hearing, you understand you would have the right to be represented by counsel, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You'd have the right to see and hear the evidence the state presents at that hearing, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You understand you'd be able to present evidences and witnesses on your own behalf, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And you understand you'd also be able to cross-examine the state's witnesses, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you've been satisfied with the services of Mr. Cotton, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And earlier on December 16th, 2025, Attorney Cotton provided me with some correspondence indicating that you have elected not to contest the position to revoke your conditional release. And that's true, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And you are satisfied that you've had ample time to discuss the ramifications of waiving that hearing and the burden of proof the state would have to face if we had that hearing, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your counsel is able to answer any questions you might have about the DHS petition for revocation of your conditional release. Is that right?
All right, so it looks like we are having some problems with that shot. As soon as that gets back, we will get you back out there to that courtroom. But again, this is in Wisconsin. Again, the Slender Man stabbing suspect in court. So just kind of a brief overview, if you're just now catching up. Morgan Geyser, one of the 2 people convicted in the 2014 Slender Man stabbing, is expected to be back, or is back in court this morning as officials consider revoking her conditional release. Now, Geyser was arrested in Illinois last month after authorities say she cut off her electronic monitoring bracelet and left her Madison group home. On November 25th, the Wisconsin Department of Corrections filed a sealed petition that sought to revoke Geyser's conditional release. While the filing is not public, it has triggered a mandatory 30-day window for a hearing. So again, that is playing out right now in court. As soon as we get that shot back, we'll get back to it. But in the meantime, we want to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertovin. So we want to get to an announcement from overnight. President Donald Trump making announcement of a new class of battleships bearing his name, and it also puts a spotlight on a U.S. naval shipbuilding program that has, according, and I'm reading this from CNN, according to CNN, has fallen short on delivering the new warships on time and on budget in recent years, something Trump himself pointed out in his speech from Mar-a-Lago, where he is spending the holiday week there. Let's take you now to that announcement in case you missed it.
It's the first renderings of what we're doing. So I want to wish everybody a big hello and Merry Christmas and welcome to Mar-a-Lago for this exciting announcement of the new Golden Fleet. We're calling it the Golden Fleet, that we're building for the United States Navy. As you know, we're desperately in need of ships. Our ships some of them have gotten old and tired and obsolete, and we're going to go the exact opposite direction. We're delighted to be joined by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job, and Secretary of the Navy John Phelan. Marco Rubio is here, who gave a great few words toward the end of last week. He spoke for a couple of hours on what a good job we're doing, which is true. As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others, but if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit, but and they're bigger. They're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality. Battleships are the largest, sturdiest, and most heavily armed vessel built specifically for naval combat. While America has built many new warships over the years, they've tended to be smaller, much smaller, and not conducive to where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength. But including, we've been building aircraft carriers. We're going to be upping that also. We're going to be going to a superior aircraft. We have the Ford class. We're going to be upping that to a different class of aircraft carrier. And we haven't built a battleship since 1994. These cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. It will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction. Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship in the history of the world ever built. And again, it's 100 times more powerful than the previous Iowa class, it's called. Those are the big ones that you see on a show. Victory at Sea. I don't know if anyone's seen Victory at Sea, but it was a classic. They'll help maintain American military supremacy, revive the American shipbuilding industry, and inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world. We want respect. We're going to have it. We already have it. We're more respected now than we ever were. A year and a half ago, they laughed at us. Now they respect us again at levels that they've never respected us. We envision that these two ships, we're talking about 10, but we're going to start with 2, and we're going to quickly morph into 10. And ultimately, we think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 of these. But we're starting with the first 2 immediately, and we're going to then be very quickly involved with. I think we're going to do another 8, and then we're going to ultimately and pretty quickly have a total of about 20 to 25. We'll make that determination. We envision that these ships will be the first of a whole new class of battleships to be produced in the years to come. From Theodore Roosevelt, the Great White Fleet, you remember that, the Great White Fleet, to the legendary USS Missouri, whose massive guns helped win World War II. America's battleships have always been unmistakable symbols of national power. We stopped making them for whatever reason, I don't know. And I want to congratulate John Thalen, who is your secretary of the Navy. He came to me the first day we met. He talked about battleships, and I said, you're absolutely on the right track. He said, why are we doing other things? We have missiles, which are much more expensive. By the way, these battleships have tremendous numbers of missiles, but they also have guns. And in many ways, guns can do the trick just as well as missiles at a tiny fraction of the cost. Once completed, these new 30 to 40,000 ton plus vessels will be the flagships of the American naval fleet, and there has never been anything built like them. And I just want to be very clear that we're building them here. We're working with others, but we're building them here. We have great Navy yards. We'll be negotiating with some of the companies that are running those yards, taking over the yards. We used to build a ship a day during World War II. Now we don't do ships very much anymore. We do military ships, we do submarines. By the way, we're 15 to 20 years advanced in our submarines over anybody else. That was one of the things that I did in my first term. We make the best submarines by far in the world. We're at least 15 years advanced ahead of anybody else in submarine development. Most powerful, that's right, the most powerful weapon anywhere in the world, undetectable. So the battleships are going to be armed just in terms of guns and missiles at the highest level. They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic weapons, state-of-the-art electric rail guns, and even the high-powered lasers that you've been starting to read about. We have lasers where you aim the laser at a target, it just wipes it out. We're going to have, there'll be the most sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world will be on the battleships that we're building. They'll also carry the nuclear-armed, sea-launched cruise missiles currently under development, which will be instituted pretty quickly, but they're under development, and they've proven to be extremely lethal. The U.S. Navy will lead the design of these ships along with me, because I'm a very aesthetic person, alongside our partners in American industry, and we're going to have Pete Hegseth and Marco and a lot of very talented people involved, but a lot of it's already been done. We've been doing this for months. The construction will create thousands of American jobs. We're going to have the jobs be created. I mean, already we have factories being built unrelated to this, although AI will be a big factor when it comes to these ships. They'll be very AI controlled. Today's announcement is yet another step in our mission to make the United States Navy stronger than ever before. Again, when you talk about 100 times the power of these massive ships that we had years ago, it's pretty amazing. And next week I'm going to meet with the defense prime contractors. I'm going to meet with them here, Florida. And we're going to be talking about production schedules because they're too slow. We have many countries, allies, that are wanting to buy. We make the greatest equipment in the world by far. Nobody's even close, but they don't produce them fast enough. So we're going to be meeting with them to talk about the production schedules. We're going to have strong production schedules. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to build new plants. Even with the F-35, we have many people want the F-35 fighter jet, and it takes too long to deliver them to allies or to ourselves. It takes too long. The only way they're going to be able to deliver them is if they build new plants. They don't want to build new plants because that's expensive. So we're going to be discussing production schedules. We're going to be discussing CapEx spending, we'll be discussing the pay to executives where they're making $45 and $50 million a year and not being able to build quickly. They're going to make that kind of money. They have to build quickly. Again, we make the best equipment in the world, but they don't make them fast enough. And we're going to be also discussing dividends. We want the dividends to go into the creation of production facilities. So we'll be talking about all CapEx, dividends, and the pay. We're also going to be talking about buybacks. They spend so much money on buybacks. They want to buy back their stock. I don't want them to buy back their stock. I want them to put the money in plant and equipment so they can build these planes fast, rapidly, like immediately. I mean, I have sold more planes than any president by far, times probably 20. So every time I go someplace, I sell 100 planes. That includes commercial planes, Boeings, etc., but it also includes fighter jets. And I'm always having to say 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, helicopters, Apache helicopters, many years. India bought them. They want to get them. They don't want to wait a long time. So we don't want to have executives making $50 million a year, issuing big dividends to everybody, and also doing buybacks. And then they say, well, we don't have the money to build the plant. They got to build plants. Plants to make F-35s, plants to make helicopters, plants to make the F-47 new jet. And that's it. And that's what I'm going to be talking to them about. They're going to start spending money on building airplanes and ships and the things that we need, not in 10 years and 15 years. We need them now. And we're strong about it. Last week, the Navy announced a brand new class of frigate, and they're going to be working with the South Korean company. Hanwha, a good company, recently agreed to invest $5 billion in Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. We're opening up the Philadelphia Shipyard. Once a great yard. Now it was a long time ago decommissioned, but now it's reopening. Working with the Navy and working with private companies. The record-setting defense bill I signed last week authorized $26 billion to build new ships, including destroyers and various others. We already have a lot of submarines, as you know, under construction. We're building a lot of submarines. I tell you, to be exact, we have right now 15 submarines under construction or ready to start. And we have, again, the greatest submarine in the world with our technology, like they talk about chips. Well, I would say submarines are a bigger deal than chips. We're at least 15 years ahead of any other competitor. China, Russia, nobody can come close. We're also building right now 3 large aircraft in addition to the ones we have. And we have, actually, interestingly, we have a lot of submarines. How many submarines do we have now altogether, approximately?
Sir, over 30 today.
What?
Over 30.
We have over 30. But these are the super duper subs, and there's nothing like them. So we're going to be doing from 12 to 15 brand new submarines. We have a couple of other things going on. We'll be building other elements of Navy. We'll be fixing up headquarters. We'll be fixing up places for our great sailors to live. And we're going to be working very hard with companies, but we're also going to be penalizing companies that aren't doing a good job. For instance, when they built the Ford, Gerald Ford, the cost overruns were ridiculous. That was done in Norfolk, Virginia. We're going to be talking about that with that company. The cost overruns were out of control. In World War II, the United States built upwards of 4 ships per day. Can you believe it? 4 ships a day, on average. And now there weren't all big warships, but there were ships, freighters, tankers. And it's a tragedy that we allowed this incredible capability just go astray. We don't do that much anymore. We do build our warships, but that's about it. But that's a lot. We're going to restore America as a major shipbuilding power. We're going to ensure the USA is the most powerful fleet anywhere in the world, and long into the future with battleships helping lead the way, and the submarines that, again, nobody competes with us on submarines. So I just want to thank everybody, and I'd like to ask Secretary Hicks had to say a few words, followed by the Secretary, but if you would, Secretary of the Navy. But Pete's doing a fantastic job. By the way, we have drugs are down 96.2% coming into the United States. 92.6 by sea. And soon we'll be starting the same program on land. The land is much easier. But every one of those boats that we knocked out saved 25,000 lives. So we saved 25,000 lives every time we knock out one of those boats with the drugs pouring in. And you just have to see it. I mean, people say, oh, gee, do you think it was really drugs? Well, just take a look. Bags all over the place. That's not fishing equipment. There's no fishing rods on those boats. They move fast. When you see a boat with 4 engines or 5 engines on, going 40, 50 miles an hour, well, they get hit. We save 25,000 lives every single time we knock out a boat, and it's over 96% stopped by sea. We're trying to figure out who the other 4% are, frankly. And we're going to have the same success, but even quicker, because it's much easier on land. If they want to come by land, they're going to end up having a big problem. They're going to get blown to pieces, because we don't want our people poisoned. 300,000 people died, probably last year 300,000. A lot of people say it was 200. Somebody said last night, it was only 175,000 people. That's like 3 stadiums, big football stadiums filled up with people died. But I think the real number is 300,000. We're not going to have that anymore. So we're doing a great job, and we enjoy doing it. Our border is secure. Our country is strong. Trillions of dollars is coming into our country from other countries and companies. They're building factories and plants, including auto plants, all over the United States of America. Without tariffs, they wouldn't be doing anything, although they were very happy with the November 5th election. But it's only because they want to avoid paying tariffs that they're all coming in. And again, the biggest number was $3 trillion in history. That was China many years ago. Now it's $18 trillion, and that's just in 10 months. We think we could hit $20 trillion. That's investment in the United States, including plant and equipment. So thank you very much, and I'll ask Pete to say a few words, and then John. If you have any questions, we'll take them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Mr. President, you're exactly right. There are no fishing poles, no fishermen, and no fishing boats. Just drug dealers and narco terrorists. And with every strike, we're saving American lives. No other president was willing to do real deterrence. That's exactly what's happening. It's an honor to be here, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, Secretary Rubio, to talk about what peace through strength really looks like. You can talk about it, or you can invest in it, and you can build it. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing. At the Department of War, we're restoring the warrior ethos. In fact, the President mentioned the NDAA. We put into law merit-based. We put into law getting rid of DEI and political correctness. That's now part of how our military operates. And you've seen it in record recruiting in the spirit of the Department of War. We're rebuilding the military. President Trump did it once. He's doing again with historic investments today in shipbuilding. And we're reestablishing deterrence. Whether that's at the border, whether it's through Golden Dome, what happened with Midnight Hammer and what Iran found out, those drug boats, and of course the Houthis opening up the shipping lanes. American strength is back on the world stage. And the announcement of the Golden Fleet, anchored by new battleships, the biggest and most lethal ever, accomplishes all 3 of those things and marks a generational commitment to American sea power. Across the entire department, we are developing new operational concepts, deploying cutting-edge technologies, and making major investments, including in our Navy. This is happening in all domains, including space, as the President has talked about before anyone else. So it's the highest of domains and the lowest of domains under sea, and especially today in sea power, that always has to be decisive, has been in the history of America, and will continue to be under the leadership of President Trump. We will make sure that anything that flows from our country and with our allies flows freely and uncontested. New and better ships will provide that deterrent today and for generations to come. This new class, these new investments, will be the types of things that for decades for centuries, the American people will look back and thank President Trump for having the vision and the willingness to invest right now in capabilities we need today, tomorrow, and long into the future. So, Mr. President, thank you for this investment, and I'll hand it over now to the Navy Secretary.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, thank you for being here on a very consequential day. From my very first conversation with President Trump about serving as the Secretary of the Navy, he's talked about the great Iowa-class battleship and why America doesn't build ships anymore with that kind of offensive firepower that takes the fight to the enemy. During my time in the job, I've talked extensively with our combatant commanders, like Admiral Paparo and Admiral Cooper, and our CNO, Admiral Cottle. And what I've learned is that not only is the President's idea a good one, it's something that Navy desperately needs and now has a formal requirement for. The future Trump-class battleship, the USS Defiant, will be the largest, deadliest, and most versatile and best-looking warship anywhere on the world's oceans. I want to thank the President for his vision to make this game-changing capability for the United States Navy. The Iowa was designed to go on the attack with the biggest guns, and that's exactly what will define the Trump-class battleships. Offensive firepower from the biggest guns of our era. This ship isn't just to swat the arrows. It is going to reach out and kill the archers. And for the first time in generations, we'll have a new leg in America's nuclear deterrence, because the Trump-class battleship will carry the nuclear-armed, sea-launched cruise missile. Striking dominance isn't all that the Trump-class battleship brings to the fight at sea. It has the size and capacity to serve as a flagship for our fleet commanders so that they can command and control naval forces far out to sea. As shown in the series, and the President mentioned it, Victory at Sea, Admirals Bull Halsey and Raymond Spruance commanded the war in the Pacific from their battleship flagships during World War II. Now this new battleship will command everything from warships to drones and everything in between. We're going to make battle groups great again. And this is just one piece of the President's Golden Fleet that we're going to build with the investments he talked about. A new frigate, the right frigate, the one our warfighters have told us they need. More amphibious power for our Marines with new capabilities like the medium landing ship. As part of the Navy's high-low mix, we're moving out aggressively on unmanned vessels with funding from the President's One Big Beautiful Bill to bring options to the fight and pull new, non-traditional defense partners into the American shipbuilding ecosystem. And we're making a generational investment in support ships. Logistics wins wars, and that kind of shipbuilding is the spark that will ignite the industrial base and help power the commercial shipbuilding that the President has called for. Under your leadership, Mr. President, we will have more tonnage and firepower under construction than ever before in our history. Building the President's Golden Fleet means jobs across the United States now. There'll be work for shipyards everywhere, from Philadelphia to San Diego, from Maine to Mississippi, from the Great Lakes to the Gulf Coast. And for manufacturers that will build components for this battleship in every state. The President has been clear. We must bring back our American maritime industrial might. And he has told me many times that as Secretary of the Navy, it is my job to equip our sailors to win the fight at sea with the finest ships in our history. To conclude, the USS Defiant battleship will inspire awe and reverence for the American flag whenever it pulls into a foreign port. It will be a source of pride for every American when it brings home our brave sailors who will sail defiant, raise their fists, and say, "We are peace through strength." And our adversaries will know when the Trump-class USS Defiant appears on the horizon, American victory at sea is inevitable. Thank you, Mr. President. Now when a conflict arises, you are going to ask not one, but two questions. Where are the carriers and where are the battleships? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to mention that John Phelan is one of the most successful businessmen in the country in our country. It's been a tremendous success, and he wanted to do this, and for nothing, he's taken probably the largest salary cut in history, but he wanted to do it. He wants to rebuild our Navy, and you needed that kind of a brain to do it properly. So I just wanted to give you a little information on him, which is probably enough. But one of the most successful men in the country, and he's that because he understands it, and he understands finance in addition to what we're talking about. Somebody who's doing a fantastic job is Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. And Marco, maybe say a few words, and then we'll answer some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I don't have much to add. This is a phenomenal presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. This is American industrial power returning. This is the ability, once again, to rebuild, to have industry in the United States. This is generational in the change, not just in terms of applying American war power, increasing our ability to protect the seas. The U.S. Navy is the single biggest source of peace in the world of all of our forces because it gives us a global footprint. But it rebuilds American industrial capacity. The ability to make things again in our country has been critical to what the President's agenda has been all about, and this is a tangible reminder of it. And I know the country's grateful for it, and generations of Americans will be grateful for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Marco. By the way, I think I'd just like to point out that these ships are made of steel as opposed to aluminum. It's a big difference, as you know. Battleships, the great battleships, had 6- and 7-inch steel hulls, and these are going to be likewise made out of very powerful steel. Our steel industry is coming back very strongly, by the way. It's coming back at record numbers, and we're going to be using them for the steel, but as opposed to an aluminum side, which, in all fairness, is not the same. So, John, we're going with all steel, I understand. Yes, sir. And it's going to be something that people are surprised, more expensive, but not even comparable in terms of the importance and the strength. Yeah, please.
What's your timetable for these first two ships, and do you see them as a counter to China?
We'll start almost immediately, and we'll probably talking about 2.5 years.
And in terms of the mission, do you see it as a counter to China?
It's a counter to everybody. It's not China. We get along great with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and not China. It's just everybody. You don't know who comes along, but we just wanted peace through strength. Hopefully we never have to use them, but there will never be anything built like these. Think of it. Those battleships are incredible. These have 100 times the power. Think of that. I mean, and they were big and they were powerful. You know, I thought about taking some that are in dry dock and changing them, and then when I said that, you know, if we did, would be about, we could increase, if we doubled them, they'd be at like just a tiny fraction of what one of these was. This is the new technology, which is incredible. So we decided pretty early on not to do that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Julio Rosas with Most Peaceful Media. You just referenced the lower amount of illegal drugs that are coming by sea, and you just said that you're going to start that same program on land soon. Are you just referring to Venezuela, or are you referring to other countries in Latin America?
Anywhere drugs are pouring in, anywhere, not just Venezuela. No. Yes.
Speaking of Venezuela, oil. What are we going to do with the oil that we have?
Going to do with what?
The oil that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping.
Where's it? Are we going to sell it or put it in the strategic oil?
Maybe we'll sell it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also. Yeah, please.
About Venezuela, sir, have you spoken to American oil companies that have had their assets seized about what a post-Maduro Venezuela would mean for them, of what coming back and restarting operations?
The big ones, yeah. I have. Yeah, please.
Why do you feel like this initiative was neglected for so many years, and does this come amidst the rising tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela?
We're talking about with Venezuela?
Yes.
Well, you had a different kind of a president before me. They didn't mind being ripped off. They didn't mind being robbed. They didn't mind drugs pouring into our country. They didn't mind the jails of Venezuela and Trinidad, Nicaragua being emptied into the U.S., where they take over Colorado and other places. I do mind. So you had a different kind of a president. I hope people are enjoying it because we've never been respected more than we are now. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full... And Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they give me their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his. But everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here, he'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy, he can handle it, but you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're highly respected bankers and lawyers and others, and they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great state of Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky, Kentucky is such a great place, but I don't know, they've got a couple of people on there that are very strange in terms of leadership, but Massey's a loser, and he likes it, and that he works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there's tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question, because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was in a party, and you ruin a reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success. Look, we have $18 trillion coming into our country. We have, I believe, we're going to have the most successful economy in history. We inherited a mess. Now prices are coming way down. Gasoline is less than $2 in some states, $1.99, $1.97, $1.95 a gallon. $1.95. Think of that. A gallon. Nobody ever thought they'd see that. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Epstein. And the problem is a lot of Democrats are being caught up in the web, like Larry Summers. Larry Summers was the head of Harvard. He's now been forced to resign from every board he's on, and he was thrown off the Harvard board. Now he was at Epstein's Island a lot. I wasn't. I never went there, by the way. But fortunately, it's nice. But I never went there. But a lot of people did go there. But instead of talking about the battleships, or instead of talking about most favored nations drugs, we're bringing down drug prices like at a level that has never even been thought of, by thousands. Think of it, by 1,000%, by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400% in some cases. A drug that sells for $10 in London is costing $130 in New York. We're bringing it down to $20, and they're going to go up to 20. So they're going from 10 to 20, which is a doubling. It's a doubling. That's a lot, but it's a doubling. But we're going down to 20. So we're going down, if you can do your own math, but it's 2,000%, 3,000%. It's pretty amazing. And the New York Times had a story about it, a small story, way in the back of the paper. It's the single biggest thing to happen with respect to drugs probably in 50 years. It's never been anything like this. In my first term, I was able to get drug prices down 0.25%. It's the first time in 28 years that they went down. 0.25%. I'm so proud of myself. Now we're doing them 2,000%, 1,500%, 1,200%. That pill that sold pill for $130 will now be selling, as an example, for $20 because the rest of the world took advantage of us. Without tariffs, I could have never done it. I called up the heads of the countries. As an example, France, I spoke to a very good man, President Macron of France, and I said, Emmanuel, you have to raise your drug prices. He said, no, we will not do that. I said, you have to. He said, no, I don't want to do that. Look, you're asking me for go to $10 to $20. You're going to come way down to 20. We don't want to do that. Now, in all fairness, no other president even tried. But if they did try, there was actually a fake story in stupid USA Today. I didn't even think they make it anymore. I haven't. But I saw a story where Biden was trying to do this. Biden never tried to do it. Biden didn't know he was alive. He never tried to do it. But they're taking it from $10 to $20. So he would say, and the other leader said the same thing. No, we won't do it. I said, no, you're going to do it 100%. They said, nope. We're not doing it. We're not going to double our price. Because, again, if you go from $10 to $20, they're doubling their price. We're coming now, though, from $130 to $20 because we're going to get the lowest drug prices in the world. Whatever the lowest price is called favored nations, we're going to have the lowest price. So I said, no, you're going to. No, I will not do this. Politically, it's unacceptable. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to do it 100%. Please accept it now. Be nice. You're going to do it 100%. No, I will not. I said, yes, you are. He said, why do you keep telling me I am when I'm not? Because if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on everything France sells into the United States of America. And that's approximately 20 times more than I'm asking for with respect to drug prices. He said, I see. I agree to do it. Every other country said the exact same thing. They all said, no, I will not do it. I said, all right, on Monday morning you'll have the 25% tariff, everything you sell. In the case of France, it was wine, champagne, cars, everything they sell. It's 25 to 30 times the price of what we're talking about, at 25%. Every single country agreed. And that was a big problem. The drug companies were difficult, but fine, because we have a certain control over the drug companies. We had no control over these foreign nations. So every single country has agreed to do this. So we will take that pill price down, as an example, talking about not just pills, we're talking about everything. We'll take it down from $130 a pill down to $20 a pill. And the rest of the world will take it from $10 a pill up to $20. It's the biggest thing ever to happen, and it's barely covered in the New York Times because it's a fake newspaper. Yeah.
Mr. President, on shipbuilding, how is the administration plan to ensure that there's sufficient workforce availability as you're producing these ships?
Could you speak up?
How does the administration plan to ensure there is sufficient workforce availability as you're producing these ships?
We're going to have we're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us. We're going to have a tremendous workforce. And in order to operate you're always going to need people. You know, you can have robots, but you're going to have to get somebody to start those robots, and you're going to have to improve the robots. But we're going to have robotic factories plus manpower. So we're going to have enough. We're going to need the help of robots and other forms of, I guess you could say, employment. We're going to be employing a lot of artificial things, but the beauty is we're going to have more jobs than we've ever had. Just so you know, a number came out the other day. We have more jobs right now in the United States. More people are working right now in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. Pretty amazing. So we'll have the help of, mechanical help, if you want to call it that, but we'll have tremendous employment. They'll be paid a lot of money. They'll do better than they ever did. Okay?
Mr. President, some may have been expecting a different kind of announcement today, hearing your Secretary of War and Secretary of State here. You mentioned strikes on land in Venezuela more than 15 times, even now just in your recent remarks. Why should Maduro take your threats seriously? And
he can do whatever he wants.
What's your end game?
Maduro?
What's your end game?
There's no answer. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, we have a massive armada formed, the biggest we've ever had, and by far the biggest we've ever had in South America. He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough. But they sent their prisoners into us. They sent people from jails, prisons. They sent people from mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States. Just walked right in because Biden had an open border policy. What the Biden administration did to our country can never be forgotten. They took in millions and millions, 25 million people over the course of 4 years. Many of those people were murderers and drug dealers, prisoners, rough prisoners, 11,888 murders. More than half of them killed more than one person. They came into our country. Now, I spoke to Christine Noem today. I spoke to Tom Homan today. He came down to see me. And we had a great meeting. They've done an amazing job. We're getting them out. We're getting them out very fast. But this should have never happened. But Venezuela was one of the... Venezuela took advantage of the open borders that Biden created more than any other country. Tren de Aragua, we had gangs all over. Look, I mean, you have a very weak governor in Colorado. Look what happened in Colorado where they would occupy apartment houses. And he didn't want to do anything about it because he was scared. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, please.
So in response to the United States taking sanctioned oil from Venezuela, Colombian President Gustavo Petro criticized the United States by saying, well, the Southwest is stolen land and that it should be returned to Latin America. I just wanted to know what your response to that is.
Well, he has to watch because, you know, he's got drug factories. They make cocaine in Colombia. And he's no friend of the United States. He's very bad guy. And he's got to watch his ass because he makes cocaine and they send it into the United States of America from Colombia. We love the Colombian people. I love the Colombian people. They're great people, energetic, smart, great. But their new leader is a troublemaker. And he better watch it. He better close up those cocaine factories. They have at least 3 major cocaine factories. We know where they are. He better close them up fast, yeah. By the way, it's made and sold into the United States. Comes through Mexico.
Thank you, sir. You've named Governor Landry to be new special envoy to Greenland.
Yeah.
How do you? What do you see that role entailing? And is it still your intention that Greenland
Well, he called me.
become part of the U.S.?
He viewed Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase. He said, "I'm governor of Louisiana," and he said, "I would love." I didn't call him. He called me. He's very proactive. He's a great guy. He's a deal guy. He's a deal maker type guy. And we need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. If they say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat, well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly, we need it for we need Greenland for national security. Not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need it for national security. We have to have it. And he wanted to lead the charge, so we're making him, Marco, today, a special envoy to Greenland. Greenland's a big deal. Yeah.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, can you give an update on the talks that took place this past weekend, and could a trilateral discussion of sort be the next step for Ukrainian, U.S. and Russian delegations?
So the talks on Ukraine, Russia are going along. They lost, as you know, 27,000 soldiers last month, mostly soldiers, some people in Kiev, etc., but mostly soldiers. And the talks are going along. And I say that, you know, there's tremendous hatred between these two leaders. Between President Putin, President Zelensky, tremendous hatred, and I hope we can get it done. We are talking, talks are going okay, but, you know, I've solved 8 wars, and Thailand is starting to shape up. You know, they started with Cambodia, they started up again, but I think, Marco, we have that in pretty good shape to have that stopped. So we stopped 8 wars And I thought this would be in the middle of the pack, but maybe easy, but in the middle of the pack. But there's a lot of hatred between those two people, and when there's hatred, there's, But we stopped one war 38 years, one war 35 years, one war was going on for 32 years. And we stopped, think of it, we stopped a potential nuclear war between Pakistan and India. And the head of Pakistan, highly respected general, he's a field marshal, and also the Prime Minister of Pakistan said, President Trump saved 10 million lives, maybe more, by getting that war. 8 planes were shot down. That war was starting to rage. And he actually said the other day that President Trump saved 10 million lives, maybe more. So we solved all these wars. The only one I haven't solved yet is Russia, Ukraine.
Are you still pushing for the Christmas Day deadline with Russia and Ukraine? And have you spoken with Putin or Zelensky or plan to push the deal?
I'll do whatever I have to do. I mean, I'd like to see it stop. Look, we don't lose any money on that war anymore. Biden gave $350 billion, and who knows what happened to it. We now sell missiles, planes, all of the best military equipment. We sell it to NATO. We got NATO to go from 2% GDP to 5%. Nobody believed that to this day. Nobody's going to write that, but nobody believed it. And they take that money and they pay it to the United States for weapons. So we sell weapons to NATO. We sell full price. We sell weapons to NATO, and NATO takes those weapons and probably distributes them, but gives a lot of them to Ukraine. So we don't lose any money like we did with Biden. He was spending money like a fool. He was a fool. What he did to our country is so horrible. But he gave $350 billion between cash, gave a lot of cash, $350 between cash and weapons. You remember at the beginning of that whole thing, I gave them javelins. Javelins are the anti-tank busters. And President Obama at the time gave them sheets. I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets. But the bottom line is I think they're all tired of that war. Everyone's tired of that war. It's got to stop. Yeah, please.
The U.S. was in active pursuit of a sanctioned oil tanker yesterday. Are you able to share what became of that tanker? Was the U.S. able to seize it?
No, it's moving along, and we'll end up getting it. Yeah, we're actually pursuing it. Can you imagine? Because it came from the wrong location. It came out of Venezuela, and it was sanctioned. Yeah, please.
Ultimate goal in Venezuela to force Maduro from power.
Well, I think it probably would. I can't tell that. That's up to him what he wants to do. I think it would be smart for him to do that. But again, we're going to find out. Look, Venezuela did terrible things to the United States. They sent hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people into our open border. They sent their criminals, they sent their prisoners, they sent their drug dealers, they sent their mentally insane and incompetent people into our country more than any other country. Others did too. The Congo did. Others did too. And we just let them come right in because we were run by a stupid president. But you don't have a stupid president anymore.
Mr. President, have you set up the meeting with the health care insurers just yet? And what are you hoping to get?
I'll be setting it up. I think we're going to meet with the healthcare insurers, the insurance companies. So what I'm asking for in healthcare is very simple. Obamacare is a disaster. I call it the Unaffordable Care Act. Unaffordable as opposed to it's unaffordable. They're going to have a tremendous increase in premiums, which is Obamacare, which is them, the Democrats' fault. They'll try and blame Republicans. It has nothing to do with us. It's the Democrats' fault. What I want to do is we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year that go to insurance companies. I want that money to go to the people and let the people buy their own health care. And everybody loves it. It's become our issue. Now, before I do that, I'll meet with the insurance companies, just as I met with the drug companies. As you know, we're meeting with 4 other drug companies, Johnson & Johnson, but they've all agreed. We're meeting with them this week. It's coming up. It'll be a similar meeting. They've all agreed. But nobody would have thought the drug companies were going to do what they did, where they're giving away free drugs. And they've been so great, okay? And we have most favored nations. Nobody thought that was possible. I don't think any other president ever tried to get it because they never thought they could. But with respect to the insurance companies, I want to meet. There's essentially 14 of them, 10 big, but there's a total of 14 pretty much, pretty big. And I want to meet with them, and I want to say, I want you to cut your rates way down, way down. And maybe, if they do that, we'll be able to not cut them out. We'll be able to continue to deal with them, which is probably a little easier process. I think the best process is pay the money directly to the people, let them buy their own health care. But I'm going to meet with them the first week back. I do it now, but they're trying to come up with a schedule. They want to meet badly, they've told me, but they want to come up with a schedule. I said, make it a good schedule. Your rates have to come way down. We're also going to meet with other insurance companies because under Biden, the insurance rates have gone through the roof. Auto insurance, home insurance. I mean, insurance companies are making far more than they're entitled to make. So we're going to be doing that. But just in the meantime, we'll be meeting with the insurance companies in the first week, the first few days back in Washington, because they're trying to come up with a proposal that will satisfy me. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. I hope you're going to enjoy the battleships. They're going to be beautiful. Thank you. And have a great Christmas if I don't speak to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, so that is President Trump from last night making that announcement, unveiling plans for a new Navy battleship named after him. All right, so let's take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. We want to go to a live meeting that's happening right now. So the UN Security Council meeting right now discussing the Iran nuclear developments there, and also talking about Somalia. Let's take a listen in. All right, it looks like we trying to figure out the audio issues there. But again, the United Nations Security Council is meeting today. And again, they have a packed agenda for the Security Council. That meeting started at 10 a.m. where members were set to vote on a draft resolution extending the mandate of the African Union support mission in Somalia, which supports Somalia's authorities in stabilization efforts and the fight against armed groups. Now, the council will then hear a briefing on, and I believe they're in the middle of this right now, Iran and the implementation of Resolution 2231. 2231 is which endorsed the 2015 nuclear deal known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So members are also scheduled to convene later today for an emergency meeting requested by Venezuela. Venezuela a big topic of conversation, not only nationally but also here in the U.S. As members of Congress asked for that video footage to be put out regarding those boat strikes. But again, a packed agenda for the UN Security Council. I think we got the audio back. Let's take you there now.
United States.
Thank you, Mr. President, for convening this meeting on Resolution 2231. And thank you to Undersecretary DiCarlo for your briefing. This council is and should remain seized of the non-proliferation issue, especially with respect to the Islamic Republic of Iran. It is clear, as demonstrated by the issuance of the Secretary General's recent report on Resolution 2231, that, with the exception of paragraphs 7, 8, and 16 to 20, this resolution and its related practical arrangements remain in effect. Additionally, pursuant to the snapback process outlined in Resolution 2231, the Council decided to reinstate Resolutions 1696, 1737, 1747, 1803, 1835, and 1929. These resolutions are not arbitrary or punitive, but rather narrowly scoped to address a nuclear program that seeks to operate out of view of the international community and in continued non-compliance with its Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty mandated Comprehensive Safeguards Agreement with the IAEA, as reaffirmed last month by the IAEA Board. The reimposition of these proliferation-focused measures reflects the Council's long-standing concern, reaffirmed in its September 19th vote to restore these resolutions, about the Iranian nuclear file. As noted on the UN website, the 1737 Committee was immediately reestablished concurrent with the reinstatement of these resolutions. The United States will continue to work to ensure this committee is a fully functioning, active body. The United States continues to prefer a negotiated solution to this matter. Absent that solution, the Council must operationalize the 1737 Committee. Moreover, these resolutions, if implemented by member states in good faith, can constrain the space for potential escalation and uncertainty. The United States therefore urges its fellow members to support the expeditious implementation of the reinstated UN Security Council resolutions to realize their potential as a bulwark against insecurity. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President, and let me also thank Undersecretary General DiCarlo for her briefing. Mr. President, as we have persistently underlined, Iran must never develop or acquire nuclear weapons. We have repeatedly expressed our concerns about Iran's nuclear trajectory and the fact that the IAEA is unable to provide assurances that the Iranian nuclear program is exclusively peaceful. We are also gravely concerned by Iran curtailing cooperation with the IAEA, who has lost continuity of knowledge and has for 6 months now been unable to provide information on the status or whereabouts of the enriched uranium stockpiles in Iran. This is deeply alarming. We see no credible civilian justification neither for hiding nor accumulating highly enriched uranium stockpiles. Mr. President, Denmark considers that Iran has been in non-compliance with its obligations since 2019. Numerous IAEA
All right, so it looks like that shot has froze there, but let's take a break. It's time to take a break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We want to go back now to New York City, where the UN Security Council meeting is happening right now. They are talking about the Iran nuclear program. Let's take a listen in.
DiCarlo for her briefing. I would also like to welcome the presence of the representatives of the European Union, Germany, and Iran in the meeting. Mr. President, allow me to highlight the following points. First, Greece once again reiterates its unwavering commitment to the global nuclear non-proliferation regime with the International Atomic Energy Agency and the Non-Proliferation Treaty as its indispensable institutional cornerstones. Preserving and strengthening this regime is the only way forward for the region and the world. We therefore urge all states to comply fully with their obligations under the NPT. Second, we express serious concern regarding the findings of the IAEA Board of Governors' most recent report of November 12th, as well as the resolution adopted on November 20th. These make clear that the implementation of safeguards activities in Iran, in accordance with the NPT Safeguards Agreement, is indispensable and urgent and cannot be suspended under any circumstances. Echoing the IAEA, we urge Iran to extend full and prompt cooperation to the agency, including by providing the necessary information and access. Of equal concern is the steady increase in Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium, as well as the fact that its whereabouts are currently unknown. As of early summer, Iran's total stockpile had exceeded 9,200 kilograms in total, including more than 450 kilograms of uranium enriched up to 60%. There is no credible civilian justification for such a quantity of uranium enriched to this level. The international community must be reassured of the exclusively peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program. In this regard, we note with deep concern of the AI's assessment that unless and until Iran assists the agency in resolving the outstanding issues, the agency will not be in a position to provide such assurance. Third, Greece continues to view a diplomatic solution based on the principles of the JCPOA as the best way to ensure that Iran can exercise its right to a nuclear program while guaranteeing that this program remains exclusively peaceful. It also remains the only viable pathway to sanctions relief, economic development, and regional de-escalation. It is in this spirit that we urge the initial parties to the JCPOA to resume talks without delay. Mr. President, with the credibility of the global non-proliferation architecture at stake and growing uncertainty threatening the stability of the Middle East, the time has long come for responsible action from all sides. We therefore call on all parties to demonstrate political will, engage meaningfully, and reaffirm their commitment to dialogue, diplomacy, and respect for international law, including their non-proliferation obligations. Greece will continue to advocate for de-escalation and for the doors of diplomacy and dialogue to remain open. The stakes are otherwise too high for regional and international peace and security. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Greece for the statement, and I give the floor to the representative of the Republic of Korea.
Thank you, Mr. President. I extend my gratitude to ESG Rosemary DiCarlo for her briefing. In the light of the continued operation of Resolution 2231 and the corresponding presidential note, the Republic of Korea has joined today's meeting call to receive the briefing on Secretary General's report. We also believe the Resolution 2231 clearly demonstrates that the Iranian nuclear issue remains on the Security Council's agenda. Allow me to briefly highlight the three priorities that we believe should guide the Council's work going forward. First, Sustained dialogue and consultations within the Council are essential. Differences should be addressed through the discussions in the Council and its subsidiary bodies. The Secretariat has announced the resumption of the Iran Sanction Committee following the reinstatement of the Resolution 1737. We hope that an agreement on appointment of the chair will be reached promptly, enabling the committee to carry out its mandate effectively. Second, renewed diplomatic engagement is needed within and beyond the Council to achieve tangible progress. The JCPOA was the product of years of diplomacy. While there are still few signs of breakthroughs in the current impasse, we call on all stakeholders to intensify their efforts to re-engage and pursue dialogue toward a peaceful and diplomatic resolution. Third, the IAEA plays a central and indispensable role in verification and monitoring under the global non-proliferation regime. Its work on Iran's nuclear program is essential for confidence building and for any future political and diplomatic solution. As the international community is concerned over Iran's accumulation of its enriched uranium continue to grow, we urge Iran to resume full cooperation with the IAEA to ensure that its nuclear program is exclusively peaceful. Mr. President, at a time when